Excuse the mess, and I'm so sorry if this comes up later than it usually does because I usually post in the evening on Tuesdays, but I usually film on either Saturdays or Sundays. It is currently Monday, and the reason why I didn't film is because I was not feeling it. Um, I'll talk about that in a second, but like mentally and physically, I'm just like not in it at all. And I want to be like one of those people who like spread positivity, you know? But it's so hard to remain positive all the time in your own life, and that's something I'm still learning how to do. But this weekend I was struggling mentally for something I do want to talk about. Although I do feel like this might be a day in my life type situation. I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling like doing today. I have a lot of cleaning to do. So this just might be like a day in my life. Like, I already have my clothes that I need to sort out and everything. I want to clean up my vanity. I need to redo the area where the AC originally was and find places for new things, which I sort of already did. I already put things up in my drawer, but my floor is a mess. Everything, my life is a mess. But yeah. So let me get into a short story. Before I start cleaning, I didn't even eat breakfast yet, but uh, I'm a mess. So I went out for the first time Saturday because, well, I had a dentist appointment because we were supposed to go to the dentist, I think, in the beginning of March, because usually it's February, but the end of February. But this year they pushed it to the beginning of March. Then I got sick in March, and then COVID-19 happened in March. So here's where we're at. It was a pretty easy trip because as soon as we got finished in the dentist, a bus came and hopped on the bus. She hopped off the bus before me to get some things, and then I hopped off the bus to grab something to eat because we were going to a party later, and neither of us really ate, and it was like 11 something, close to 12. So it's like, hey, I can get us like some pizza or something. Honestly, I don't feel like, neither of us feel like cooking right now, and it's probably going to be a while till we actually eat, because usually, like, you know how like when you go to a party, it's like you're there on time, but it usually takes a while for everything to actually be set up. So we figured, okay, we could just eat a little bit before, like something light. So I ended up getting two pizza rolls, like two pepperoni pizza rolls. They're like these pretty small square things. So I had two of those. She had a slice. And then we got ready for the party. Always good. It was good to see. It was good to see my family. Um, Anyways, baby cousin's birthday, right? So it was fun seeing family. Um, I helped them set up the banner and chips. That's my contribution of that day. And from there, I kind of like disappeared before a very specific reason. So, went to the party. Everything was going well so far. My brother showed up and saw my niece, my baby niece, and everyone else finally got to meet her because, of course, because I'm his sister, like, I've seen her first, and my mom has seen her granddaughter first, but um then while they were like leaving to drop the baby off, because she's still very, very young, not wanting her to be around too much people, especially now when things are starting to get like better where I'm from, little by little, but it's still like overwhelming for a baby. And then yeah, so while they were leaving, a relative came up to me. They were in the front, so like none of my closest family was near me, but a relative that's not technically blood related, but like it's a complicated story. But she came up to me and was like, uh, saying things like, "You need to go to the gym. You got in really big," and stuff like that, you know. And the thing is, because of my own personal history with eating and trying to lose weight, and to a point where it was unhealthy of how I was trying to lose weight, but it's like the thing that got me to a point where even I wasn't that happy with it, but got me to a point where it's like, yeah, you look okay, you know? So basically, she was saying I got fat, but it's like in quarantine, pretty much everyone got fat. I mean, we don't walk around as much anymore. All the gyms were closed, and I don't know, that just affected me mentally because I've been trying so hard, and it was like something I already know, and I was unhappy about it, but I was finally starting to eat 3 meals a day again, because before I was barely eating one, and it was all because of, well, it's a different story time. We'll get there. Like, that's a whole different story about why I got that way. But I've always had like those issues. And for someone to just like come up to me and be like, yeah, you got fat. Well, not using those exact words, but like initiating those words by saying, oh, you need to go to the gym and you need to stop eating this and you need to do that. It just kind of like messed me up, because it's like, you know how if it's a stranger and someone makes a comment about you, it's easy to like brush it off. But when it's like family or friends or someone who's supposed to be close to you saying negative things to you, or it would have been worse if it was behind my back, I guess, but either way, saying negative things and they're supposed to be the ones who support you, I feel like that's what kind of like hurt me mentally, because I've always tried so hard. And so I was just in completely in my bag yesterday, and I just didn't want to move. I didn't want to do anything. I was just kind of like crying all day. Because here's the thing that bothers me, right? And I'm not, I'm going to just use this as a small example, because I don't get why when someone says something hurtful towards you, everyone tells you to have thick skin, while they don't say anything to the other person like, hey, have the common sense and have the common decency not to say rude things, because you don't know how another person takes it and you don't know their life story. And maybe I am sensitive, but it's not for no reason. And some topics I can deal with, other things, like, for example, like, someone makes fun of the way I dress. Like, not everyone's gonna like my style. I have a pretty, like, I have a variety of style that changes every 2 seconds. So I would get it if you say, like, it's too feeling, I need to cover up, even though I disagree with all those statements, because that's a whole nother complaint about what I think about that and telling girl how to dress. Because I feel like girls should be allowed to wear what they want, and without feeling like, oh, it's their fault if something bad happens to them. But that's a whole different conversation, right? But for someone to make a comment about my body, and you know what sucked about that is like, it's usually, my family is Christian. I'm Christian. So, but I feel like I could be a better Christian, I'm being honest. But one thing I don't get is why people pick and choose, like, what they hear in the Bible, because as Christians, it's supposed to be love thy neighbor, which means you're not supposed to, like, say judgy and hurtful things to people around you. You're not supposed to judge anyone for who they are, what they look like, their identity. And that goes for many things. You're not supposed to judge anyone's race. You're not supposed to judge anyone's sexuality. And that's how I perceive it, to accept people around you for who they are. Because if you believe in God, you also believe God doesn't make mistakes, right? So to say something like you need to do this or you need to do that to your body, to say that to someone else, it's kind of like, who are you to judge someone else's body? You don't know what they go through. You don't know how that affects them mentally. And what annoys me is, like, people don't tell that person to not judge, but it's always tell the person who's hurting to not hurt, to suck it up, to have thicker skin, to get over it and not let those words affect you. But it's never tell the other person, hey, don't say those words, you know? Like, don't disrespect someone. And it's like the same thing with more serious topics. It's the same way with what I was saying earlier about, you tell the girl how to dress. You tell the girl, don't act a certain way, don't do this, don't do that. But why not tell the harasser, the assaulter, not to, why don't you teach them about consent? You know, why don't you teach them how to be respectful? But it's always telling the girl how to act and dress instead of telling them how to behave as a decent human being. And I'm not comparing those situations. I'll be back. But yeah, I just feel like people need to stop blaming people who are hurting, you know? Because a lot of people told me just not let it affect me. But it's harder to teach that. Like, why do you find it easier for the person who's hurting to learn how to not hurt over it than it is to teach someone how to have common courtesy? Because I feel like common courtesy is supposed to be taught from when we're young. And certain things you say, certain things you don't. Especially like me growing up, at least. My mom always taught me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I grew up kind of more cautious of what I say because I never want to hurt people's feelings. And yeah, there were times I failed at that. And times out of anger, times out of jealousy. Yet I still apologize for it properly and apologize and know where I am wrong. And and I would actually tell the person who I hurt, hey, I'm very sorry I hurt you. I recognize what I did or said was wrong, and I will try to do better because I don't want to be a person that hurts someone. And I guess that makes me soft. I guess that makes me sensitive. But having empathy towards other people is a skill. It's a skill too many people lack, you know? And I'm actually proud to have that skill and proud to empathize with people and understand and be compassionate towards people, because that just means I'm not completely heartless. And I'm proud not to be heartless, because there's just too many heartless people in the world. There's too many people who don't think before they speak. There's too many people who just do mean things. And sometimes it's intentional and sometimes it's not. And I understand that. But once you know something is wrong, you should try to make it right. And not just someone to make it right for you. You shouldn't send a messenger for you to say you're sorry, but you should go upstairs and admit you're sorry. Like, I don't know, maybe that's me, but that's just how I feel right now. And I'm sorry if this comes off as negative. I'm not trying to be negative, but I just feel like this is something a lot of people relate to, like their family judging them. And that's why, especially Gen Z, even though, yeah, technically I am Gen Z, according to birth charts, the very beginning, even though I honestly think kids, early 2000 kids are so different from younger Gen Z. We should just have our own area, because we're like not millennials, but we're not like the new Gen Z. We're us. That's where I'm at. But I just felt like a lot of people could relate to like being hurt by something their family says. And I'm just kind of sick of people telling me stop being so sensitive. Like, yeah, unlearn something that is just in me, you know? Maybe I don't understand the psychological things of how a person becomes sensitive. I don't. I took psychology, but we didn't really talk about that. But I don't know. Like, why are some people sensitive and why some people aren't? Maybe it's environmental. Maybe it's not. And maybe I feel a strong type of way about it because of stereotypes. Because I did an entire paper for my African American literature class about, well, specifically stereotypes for African Americans, Black people, whatever. Because that's what the class was about. But like in general, stereotypes infuriate me because they're not based on anything true. They're just based off assumptions that were passed on from generations to generations that are passing on to newer generations, which is why they won't end, you know? And one stereotype about Black women is the fact that, I know I talked about this probably in like the story time, but it's like, I'm probably gonna insert something I saw on Instagram. I don't know if I have it though, but it was about like African American women, Black women, like having to be so strong all the time. And strong because like women, they have like their own things against them. Like, obviously, we don't need to go down that list. If you want to know that list, research it. But women have their own thing. Black people have their own thing, and I'm both, you know? And Black women are supposed to be strong all the time, and mentally and physically, and just take things that happen to them. And it's not fair that it's like I'm not allowed to feel how I want to. It's like I'm just supposed to take things that hurt me. And I don't want to just having to keep taking things and pushing down my emotions for it, because that's not fair. That's not right. And that's not healthy. I feel like people should be allowed to feel how they feel. But like the world makes it seem so wrong for me to feel how I feel about anything. And it sucks. And maybe other people feel that way, that they're not allowed to feel, like not allowed to be upset and just have to take what the world throws at you because the world is a rough place. I know it's a rough place, but that shouldn't devalue my emotions. And we all take things such a different way. We all will handle things in our own way, and what will work for me to handle it won't necessarily work for you. And I'm still learning how to like handle things in my own way. I'm learning how to feel, let myself feel, because I need to feel, or I would have to just shove my emotions down to a point where I break. So, yeah. And I was just there yesterday struggling because I didn't know what to do with my emotions. I felt so sad and so angry, you know? And it sucked because I didn't want to feel sad and angry, you know? I've been doing my best to be happier, especially since I left high school. And I think I've been doing a better job at just enjoying my life, because that's all anyone wants to do, is just enjoy living. So I have been enjoying living, even with circumstances of being stuck in the house and quarantine and COVID and all these crazy things that none of us expected to happened. But honestly, I was kind of making the most of the time. Like, I missed my friends and I missed going to campus because it gave me a chance to get out the house. It gave me a chance to try new food places and everything like that. So, yeah, I missed it. But I also took it as an opportunity to get more into creative things that I always wanted to do, and things that I was probably making excuses for. Now there was no excuse. I was home. There was not much to do. I already had a camera. So it just felt like, yeah, there was nothing in the way. And the only thing that was kind of stopping me was like my own emotions, my own fears. And I've been living life. So that's just my rant for today. And I am the queen of rants. I always have something to rant about. And I really don't know if this was clear. I hope the video was clear, because I can't really tell. Maybe I should. Let me just. Looks clear to me. At least from my glasses. But yeah. Excuse like my mashed up pillow, because that's just how it looks if I don't fluff it out. And I should be cleaning up, making my bed, so stay tuned to this video if you want to see that. I also need to eat, because I've been struggling eating again, and yeah. So that is what we're gonna do for this day. I guess technically it's a lazy day in my life, because I mean, there's not much for me to do. I mean, I'm not taking online classes, summer classes, which I should have did because I am bored. And then I'm not working either because, well, one, I was so afraid to try to get a job with a weak immune system. And I was just kind of anxious about trying to work, and then if I wanted a job and keeping it through the next upcoming semester when I have so many classes, and it's overwhelming. And plus, I don't even know if we're going back to school yet because they never sent an email about if campuses are gonna be open in the fall or if they're not. So yeah. So that's what we're doing. I have a whole room to clean, so I don't know if you want to stay tuned for that. If you don't, like, I just have a lot of cleaning to do. And I know, like, some people love watching people clean, but I guess that's what I'm doing on my lazy day because I have no actual work to do. So I actually been, like, so addicted to, I've been really addicted to, like, Solitaire. So yeah, I have a lot to do because I neglected everything yesterday and now I'm just a mess. Teenage mess. But yeah,